I'm going home.
No, you're not. Are you finished?
Especially when the person you're doing it to are the police.
I didn't put any on.
Today we've got an exhilarating lineup of stories where the long arm of the law gets a swift touch of instant karma.
I have this on video in case you want to.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Strap in, folks, as we dive into these captivating tales of justice served cop style. Stay tuned, this is going to be one wild ride. First, we see a group of cops unwisely choosing to harass harmless teenagers. But as karma would have it, they ended up suspended without pay.
Gotta get off the street.
Unbeknownst to them, the leading officer was being recorded the entire time. In a sudden burst of tension, he unjustly pushes away a young black man who confronts him. But he's not alone. His entire neighborhood is there to witness and document the incident. Stay tuned to find out how the community came together in this instance of raw instant karma. Next, we see a troubling scene involving a police officer and a war veteran.
You know why?
I don't understand. No, I
Okay.
don't know why.
Lower
Okay?
your voice.
This incident ended with the police officer losing his job because of inappropriate behavior.
John,
I'm going to tell you one more time and you're going to go to jail.
Is that right?
Lower your voice or you're going to jail.
In the video, the police officer approaches the veteran, sitting on the street corner and chatting with someone he has just met. Suddenly, the officer starts to push the veteran around, being physically rough and overly aggressive. He tells the veteran to lower his voice, even though he appears confused and doesn't know why the officer treats him this way. Despite being bewildered, the officer tries to put his foot down and exert dominance. He refuses to de-escalate the situation. The veteran voices that the officer is abusing his authority, but the officer pays no heed. He insists that he is right because he has the power to give orders, and people have to follow them.
When you walk up to an officer and you get that close to an officer, it's not good.
The officer seemed to believe this was an acceptable way to act, but the incident was caught on video and his behavior was unacceptable. This led to the officer being fired from his job. In another incident, we see a police officer facing what may be the most significant lawsuit ever filed against her. The footage shows the officer commanding someone to turn around, raise their hands, and walk back towards her, guided only by her voice. She instructs her to kneel, keeping his hands raised the entire time. She asks what is happening and reassures him that they will explain everything shortly.
What's going on? We'll explain everything in a second.
The girl informs her that there is no one else in her truck and asks to retrieve his cell phone. However, she declines and insists that they will get it for her. They questioned her about her alcoholic consumption and then led her towards their police car. She checks her for potentially harmful items before she brings up her cell phone again. She again brushes it off, assuring her they will retrieve it soon. She asks him about weapons in their vehicle, to which they reply negatively. The officer helps them into their police car, promising to get the cell phone for them.
Is there any weapons in the car? No, ma'am, there's nothing on. There's no weapons in the car? Can I get my seat? I will get your cell phone for you.
She's somewhat confused and distressed by the situation. The video concludes with another officer commenting that it took a long time for the girl to pull over.
It took her a long time to pull over.
In another incident, a group of cops mishandled a situation involving a calm news reporter at a school. Their actions were so wrong that they also got fired.
Listen, I am doing my job. This is covered by the First Amendment.
Excuse me, sir. I'm the building supervisor here. Please leave.
In a video, we see one of the officers threatening the reporter, telling him he could go to jail. The reporter asks to talk outside, but the officer insists on doing their job and seems unaware of the rights protected by the First Amendment.
You're going to stand outside. Or you're going to jail.
These stories show us how important it is for police officers to make good decisions and follow the rules. Let's find out more about what happened to these officers. The situation escalates as the officer demands, "Put it down, put it down. Governor's rule, you can't have any more alcohol after 11.
Yeah, but you got alcohol. Put it down. Put it down. Governor's rule, you can't have any more alcohol after 11.
The officer warns the person that they will go to jail if they drink. Tensions rise and the officer becomes increasingly agitated. Moments later, the person confronts the officer, expressing their concerns about how the officer speaks to people of color.
So speak freely.
My issue is you talking to these people of color as if they are less than human.
The people of color. The gentleman right there that called me a
They accuse the officer of treating them as less than human. The officer denies this, but the person persists, mentioning that someone witnessed the officer's use of a racial slur. The onlookers join in, calling out the officer as a racist. Watch what happens next.
So you called me that word.
What word? You're white.
Who cares what color I am? He called me a word.
It's a racist word.
On June 26, 2020, a distressing incident occurred involving a 73-year-old woman named Karen Garner, who has dementia and sensory aphasia, which affects her ability to communicate and understand. Miss Garner attempted to leave a Walmart store in Loveland, Colorado, carrying unpaid items worth $13.88. Store employees stopped her, but instead of allowing her to pay with her credit card, they returned the items. Undeterred, Miss Garner left the store. A Walmart employee then called the Loveland Police Department to report the incident as a theft. Officer Austin Hopp responded to the call and located Miss Garner as she was walking home along the side of the road. He approached her with his vehicle's lights on, and when she didn't stop, he parked and approached her. Even though Officer Hopp couldn't understand Miss Garner well, something bad happened. He grabbed her and forcefully pushed her to the ground, trying to control her. Miss Garner, who looked confused and didn't know what was happening, kept saying she wanted to go home.
Right now you're resisting, which is not gonna fly with me.
They ended up struggling with each other for a short time, but Officer Hopp was able to put handcuffs on Miss Garner. Then he took her back to his police car, not considering her difficulties with thinking and understanding. Do you think the officer was right to detain her like that? Later in this video, I witnessed Officer Jalali assisting Officer Hopp in restraining Miss Garner's feet and placing her in the patrol vehicle.
Do not hook onto him.
Soon after, a concerned citizen confronts Officer Hopp about his conduct.
Okay.
I see you there, how you throw the little kid.
Little kid?
Well, I don't know.
He's not
if
a little
kid.
And this
he
is what
he was just walking, and I see you how
so
you grab him.
Stole from Walmart.
Did Officer Hopp violate department policy, Colorado law, and the US Constitution by using excessive force? In this YouTube video, we witness a concerning incident during a traffic stop in Manhattan involving NYPD detective Patrick Cherry and an Uber driver. Let's take a closer look at the encounter.
I'm not planning, sir. I'm here.
Planning? I said planet.
I'm not any planet.
Detective Cherry appears to criticize and confront the Uber driver, using inappropriate language and displaying anger. The driver remains calm and records the interaction while passengers express their support. The video gained public attention, leading to the accountability of Detective Cherry. He faced the consequences for his behavior, including being stripped of his shield and firearm and being placed on modified duty.
On the side of the street without your interference, and then your opinion about what's going on.
On January 12, 2023, Ricky, a viewer, found himself being closely followed by a police cruiser on the 494 highway.
I'm not asking you to get out of the car.
I mean, all those questions are really not necessary. You can follow me if you want.
I don't want to follow
you. You know,
you,
it's like you're harassing me.
What do you do for work?
What do you mean what I do for work?
You have the right to say no, you have the right to say yes.
I said no. Period.
No what?
No.
The cruiser tailed him for an unusually long distance of nearly 5 miles until Ricky merged onto the 169 highway. Eventually, Officer Jack Lowry from the Bloomington Police Department pulled Ricky over. Following the traffic stop, Officer Lowry returns to his vehicle to run Ricky's license. Discovering that Ricky possesses a valid license without any issues, What stood out to him about Ricky's driving? What could have raised concerns about Ricky's appearance? On April 7, 2018, Officer Courtney Brown and Officer Christy Wilson from the Roswell Police Department pulled over Sarah Webb, a resident of Georgia.
So you could go over 80 miles per hour on 92? No, ma'am.
Sarah Webb was allegedly speeding to work in Duluth, Georgia. Once Miss Webb pulled over, Officer Brown approached her vehicle. Officer Brown admitted that she had no speed detection devices to accurately measure Miss Webb's speed. It is important to note that Georgia's speeding and reckless driving laws allow convictions based solely on an officer's visual estimate of speed. During the encounter, Officer Wilson, off camera, suggests using a coin flip app on her phone to determine whether Miss Webb should be arrested, heads, or released, tails.
Who's that?
A head, R tail.
Okay.
That's it for today's video. Which of these stories intrigued you the most? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.